said it came at night, leaving livestock bloodless. A myth, a monster, or something born of hunger. The Chupacabra crawled from legend into reality, and its shadow still prowls, waiting for the next victim.
If a monster drains livestock of blood, leaves creepy footprints, and occasionally stares into porch cameras. But biologists keep calling it a sick coyote. Which story do you believe, and why? Pull up a chair and clutch a garlic bulb. For the drama, not the science. Today we're going hunting for the Chupacabra, touring its origin story, the real-life attacks, the interviews and footage.
Well, I would be speculating because the truth is, I don't know. It definitely wasn't something that just grabbed it, and it was...
And what the best available evidence says. Puerto Rico, 1995, and a movie that set the stage. Our tale kicks off in March 1995 in Puerto Rico, where farmers found sheep punctured by neat holes in the chest and apparently drained of blood.
We've always heard of the myth of Chupacabra, and I said, kind of jokingly,
So begins the legend of the Chupacabra, Spanish for goat sucker, a name that was spoofily coined by radio host Silverio Perez and stuck like glue. Months later, an eyewitness, Madeline Tolentino of Canóvanas, Puerto Rico, described seeing a small, spiky-backed, alien-looking creature hopping around, very much a vampiric kangaroo vibe. Tirade or tangent? Not quite. Investigations by paranormal skeptic Benjamin Radford traced her description to a chilling resemblance to Syl, the creature from the horror sci-fi film Species, released in Puerto Rico just a month before her sighting. She reportedly believed what she saw on screen was happening in real life. Cue eerie doors slamming shut. Radford spent a solid 5 years chasing down truth, sketches, interviews, and myths before compiling Tracking the Chupacabra, The Vampire Beast in Fact, Fiction and Folklore, 2011. His conclusion? That original alien vampire was likely fueled by pop culture, poor forensic knowledge, and strong local rumor. How vampire stories fall apart. The drama of livestock being drained of blood sounds tailor-made for campfire horror stories, but biology says otherwise. When an animal dies, blood doesn't vanish into the night. It sinks by gravity into the lowest parts of the body, creating the illusion of emptiness elsewhere. This is called livor mortis, and it's been tricking farmers long before the Chupacabra allegedly joined the scene. Add to that the fact that canid predators like coyotes, wild dogs, or even feral strays often puncture the soft neck or chest with canine teeth, leaving tidy holes that scream vampire attack under the beam of a shaky flashlight. Combine pale carcasses, oddly placed punctures, and the whispers of fearful neighbors, and suddenly goats become victims of Dracula's cousin from the tropics. The reality, though, is more CSI than X-Files. Ranch veterinarians who examined carcasses consistently found trauma consistent with dog or coyote attacks, not mysterious bloodsucking. But, let's be honest, your goats were killed by mange-ridden strays doesn't have quite the same ring as a vampire kangaroo is stalking our island. The media-driven myth and the two faces of the beast. As the hysteria crossed from Puerto Rico into the mainland US, the Chupacabra pulled a wardrobe change worthy of a pop star. In the Puerto Rican version, it was a reptilian, bipedal creature with spines jutting down its back, glowing red eyes, and the posture of an alien gymnast. By the early 2000s in Texas and Mexico, however, the Chupacabra became a four-legged, hairless, mangy canine with a spooky gait and protruding spine. Why the change? Media branding. Once TV anchors realized Chupacabra was a clickbait goldmine, every mangy coyote became the monster du jour. Encyclopedias like Britannica now neatly divide the myth into these two forms: Puerto Rico's alien kangaroo and America's bald dog. Scientists, meanwhile, pointed out the obvious. People were recycling old folklore, adding fresh costumes, and sprinkling it across nightly news. What began as an alien menace quickly evolved into the ugly dog that wants your chickens. If the Puerto Rican Chupacabra looked like a sci-fi villain, the Texan one looked like a Halloween costume your aunt made with a shaved Labrador and a glue gun. DNA, mange, and coyote clones. The early 2000s brought a steady parade of Chupacabra carcasses, most of them from Texas, and each was treated like a monster unveiling at Comic-Con. Ranchers posed proudly beside leathery blue-gray remains while local news crews hyped undiscovered species. The most famous case came from Cuero, Texas, where rancher Phyllis Canyon kept the body of a strange, hairless animal that had killed her chickens. DNA tests conducted at Texas State University, confirmed later by UC Davis, revealed that the so-called Chupacabra was nothing more exotic than a coyote with mange, possibly mixed with wolf ancestry for extra dental drama. Another notorious case was the Elmendorf beast, found near San Antonio in 2004, which sported wrinkled skin, a fearsome overbite, and enough creep factor to land on national TV. Zoo experts again chimed in. Coyote, severe mange, nothing extraterrestrial to see here. Skeptics like Radford doubled down, explaining that mange transforms familiar conids into gaunt, monstrous figures. And while science offered clarity, believers weren't having it. After all, mythical goatsucker prowls the night is way more exciting than your neighborhood coyote really needs flea medication. Even so, the DNA results are clear. Every single body tested to date has belonged to an ordinary mammal, not a new species. Turns out, the Chupacabra isn't so much an undiscovered beast as it is nature's practical joke starring mange mites. Mange and misperception. The key villain behind these hairless horrors? Sarcoptic mange, the microscopic mite with the personality of a chainsaw. It burrows under the skin of animals like coyotes, foxes, and dogs, causing intense itching, fur loss, and grotesque thickening of the skin. The result? Perfect nightmare fuel. Instead of a fluffy coyote, you've got a gaunt, gray, patchwork monster with eyes too big for its head and a back that looks like it's sprouting alien spines. To the untrained eye, or to a farmer grabbing his flashlight at 2 a.m., this mangy scavenger is nothing short of a cryptid auditioning for the X-Files. Biologists explain that mange not only alters appearances, but also weakens the animal so much that hunting nimble prey becomes impossible. This is where University of Michigan biologist Barry O'Connor's insight hits home. Sick conids turn to the easiest food source available: pen-raised goats and chickens. Not because they're plotting vampire theatrics, but because climbing into a goat pen is basically hitting the fast food drive-thru. So when a mange-ridden coyote lumbers into a farm, kills a goat, and leaves behind a hairless corpse with teeth marks, the imagination does somersaults. Mix that with nervous neighbors and juicy tabloid headlines, and you get the birth of Chupacabra strikes again? Meanwhile, the actual culprit, the mite, just sits smugly on its microscopic throne, proving that sometimes the real monsters are way too small to see. Myth meets modern journalism. In May or June 2025, Skeptical Inquirer ran a feature called Chupacabra Revisited: Dueling Origin Stories of the Hispanic Vampire. Benjamin Radford dove back into those early interviews with Tolentino, the original eyewitness, dissected her shifting accounts, and retraced the Puerto Rican location where the sightings allegedly occurred. The article is the freshest scholarly treatment of the monster's origin. It's a forensic meltdown of pop culture, memory, and mass media, brilliantly illustrated by the fact that a biologist can now say, yes, people literally thought they were seeing the movie species in real life. Why the monster lives on, even when it doesn't. We humans are storytelling pros. Ambiguity is our playground. A low-resolution porch cam clip of a gaunt, mange-ridden critter becomes myth. News anchors grin and tease, is that a Chupacabra? And even after biologists say, nope, probably just mange, the legend wins. Sound familiar? This happened in Pueblo, Colorado, with a clip going viral in 2025. Wildlife officials said raccoon with mange, but the picture-hungry internet had already crowned a monster. The media loves mystery, and as soon as one inconclusive video or photo surfaces, the legend keeps breathing, even when biology has the scalpel. Cultural echoes and enduring appeal. Think of the Chupacabra as a modern vampire myth, part folklore, part sensationalism, part real-world misperception. It ticks boxes across Latin American and American pop culture, reflecting underlying anxieties about invisible government experiments, environmental disruption, or even colonial tensions. Radford's work and literary reviews explore how these deeper social narratives contribute to the story's stickiness. Folklore and monster stories endure because they offer meaning amid uncertainty. In that way, the Chupacabra is a creature of our collective imagination, even if not of the biological variety. So there you have it, the Chupacabra. Not quite an alien goat vampire, but definitely a masterclass in how myths, mange, and movies collide. If you enjoyed this midnight monster hunt, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and beware the rustle in the night.
Goats, chickens, cattle, they bled for something unseen. Science offers explanations, but fear tells another story. The Chupacabra lives where proof cannot reach, and its hunger is never sated.